Listen, let me start this statement off by saying welcome to the show. Here to put you up on topics that you really need to know. Live and center from the Ville, I introduce the coolest host. Y.C.S.W.U, the DJ, got you ready, good to go.
Yo, what it do? Welcome back to a brand new episode of YouCan'tSitWithUsRadio, featuring myself, as always, Y.C.S.W.U, aka the kid that never sold dope, aka chilling like a booger, and the one and only, man. Don't call him a DJ, call him Q, the mother-loving DJ. What's going on, man?
What's going on, bro? We here in the virtual flesh. Man, how you feeling?
Or you in the virtual flesh?
Yeah, me. I'm here in the virtual flesh, man. You feeling all right, man?
Yeah, I'm doing good. How you doing, man?
Good, man. Trying to hold it down. Getting ready for life, man. But we doing good. It's a Sunday. It's nice weather out, so I'm gonna look at the positives.
Yeah. Let's see how long it lasts, though. You know, we've been thunder and lightning.
Yeah, you never know for real. It's been crazy these last couple of weeks, man. I forget. I think that was maybe like Friday, man. Our lights was flickering and stuff. I'm like, all right, man. I'm not trying to lose no power.
Man, right?
Yeah, I was in a restaurant. We had to bunker down in the kitchen because the tornado literally came right over top of us. It's like in Old Hickory, which is a suburb in between Hermitage and Madison, and yeah, it was going over Old Hickory towards Lebanon. And when Danielle Breezy starts flapping her arms and walking back and forth across the TV, everybody flips out. I don't know, it must mean flip out in Swahili, but when Danielle got the little sleeveless dress on and she started flapping them arms, they were like, get in the back! you know how awkward that is? Like, everybody's kind of at their respective tables having dinner or drinks or whatever, and then when you're forced into a small space, you know what I'm saying? I mean, people are going to always be people and be kind, but that is the most awkward situation. 2 or 3 ladies were in hysterics. I'm literally texting on Instagram, trying to sell real estate on my phone, trying to checking the email. I'm like, if I die, at least I'll tell these people thank you for choosing unlock that, So that was, you're right. That was just a couple of days ago. But when the weather changes as frequently as it has here recently, it makes it seem like it's been weeks. It makes it seem like the time has flown by a little faster. I know my allergies and a couple other people I've spoke to have had, a hard time. I was telling him when I was coming in today, I mean, it looked like I was crying when I was at the door just a minute ago trying to get into the studio. I had to run into the bathroom, fix my makeup, so I didn't look like a psychopath on air. Like Michael Jackson in Thriller, when he turned around and his face is all wild. That's how I feel with these allergies. It's like you never know what you're going to see or what you're going to get.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Dennifer, we appreciate you for pulling up and sitting down and chopping it up with us. And I mean, you kind of went into it a little bit before, but just for the people that may not be familiar with you, just give the people a little bit of information about yourself and who you are and what you do.
Absolutely. Well, first and foremost, thanks for having me. I actually have my own podcast, and I love to invite different guests on to help me as well. So I think that kind of stuff is mutual and a beneficial relationship. But yes, I'm Dennifer Relaford. I am a 3-time TSU alum. I moved here from the great state of Indiana. Go Midwestern. I kept my Midwestern vibes, but I've been here 24 years. I attended Tennessee State University. I tried a couple times to do the Meharry thing. It was unsuccessful, so I was approached in the Green Hills area to sell real estate, and it has done great things for me in terms of personal wealth, in terms of professional. I was able to create my own business and be my own boss, which is ultimately what my goal was as a practitioner, right? If I was going to go into the dental practice, I would have had my own practice like Dr. Dudley and knocked out cleaning teeth, and I wanted to do root canals at that time. So I'm so thankful that I was able to utilize my professionalism in terms of networking and being invited into Keller Williams. We were Keller Williams Green Hills at that time, and then the office moved out of that area onto 40th and Charlotte, which is another area I'm very familiar with for my TSU. So I don't know, it's something about me, Nashville, and 37209, right? I always think that things happen for a reason. They align for a reason, and in due time you find out why. Whether that why is what you want to hear or not, you'll always learn why things happened. And I moved to Nashville, 37209. I've since not lived there, since I matriculated through state, but here we are. My professional office ended up in that same, zip code. And it's so funny because back then, the area behind TSU, like, you didn't want to, be caught back there after dusk, right? So we used to call them state streets. I was so happy when I went through the neighborhood and I saw it was like a Kentucky Avenue, Illinois Avenue, my Indiana Avenue, and so we always just called it state streets. Well, since then, they've built the community up and rehabbed a lot of houses and torn a lot of down and changed the infrastructure over there. And now they term that area the Nations. And those homes are a little shy of, $800,000, $900,000. And everybody wants to be over there all day long, all night long. It's like, we were just talking about Thrillers. The people popping up everywhere, dancing and doing their thing. So, I even know some guys that just opened a bar over there. And it's killing it. I mean, not even with a whole bunch of advertisement. Yes, it, of course, has exceptional interstate access, but that's because the interstate runs through the subdivision. You know what I'm saying? The suburbs. So, it's just funny to see the city change. And it doesn't feel like I've lived here for 24 years, but time don't lie. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. You know what I'm saying? I mean, my hip hop is always right in my pocket. I can always figure out what's going on through a song. But yeah, it's just crazy because I can remember when I moved and tried to teach myself how to get around the city and like away from TSU so that I wasn't just stuck on campus all the time, right? I taught myself if I could see them 4 buildings downtown. You remember when the landscape was just 4 buildings, the Batman building and 3 other buildings. I would tell yourself, don't freak out, you're not lost. If it's in your rearview mirror, even if you could see just the top of the Batman building and the trees, you're still in Nashville proper and you're not lost. Teach yourself the city, and thank God I did because, now when I first started selling real estate, I marketed myself as being a North Nashville, vet, right? And so me working in Green Hills, that helped me substantially. There were, at that point in time, there were sections of North Nashville people didn't want to touch, like I just said about the Nations. And now everybody wants to be in North Nashville. Is that a gunshot? Is that a wedding? They don't care. If they can build a tall and skinny on a corner and get $600,000 or $700,000 for it, then we're in it, right? So I just like to be the agent that people can always count on to be approachable, to be knowledgeable, and to be willing to share, my assets and my talents to help other people get to where I think that they could possibly want to go or where they should be. A lot of people rent for a little too long and they don't realize that that's a depreciating asset and there's no tax benefits. So that's just Dennifer. I'm always fun. I don't know, it must be fun or crazy in Swahili. It changes every day. But that's just who I am. And thank you, Nashville, for having me. I've lived here a very long time. To be a transplant that moved for college, that says something. That means something to have stayed this long.
For sure. I can remember, when I was, because just like you said, you're from Midwest. I'm from Milwaukee as well.
Okay.
I haven't been here, 24 years, but we knocking on the door around 10 or 11, somewhere around there.
Right.
But how was that, if you can remember back to that time, how was that adjustment from coming from,
the Midwest to
coming
the Southern
down
culture?
to the South? How was that adjustment?
It's so funny because I woke up this morning and there was a post on Facebook. It's like Black People Making Moves, and the lady had said, she just doesn't think the Southern culture, basically that she doesn't think the Southern culture is any friendlier than what she knows or whatever. And it could be opinionated, but it could also be a little factual, right? So I didn't realize that, you're taught 50 states in our great country. And so you just assume that we all walk alike, talk alike, breathe alike. You know what I mean? We're all human. Everybody mostly has 2 arms, 2 legs, right? So it can't get too wild, but it can get wild. You know what I mean? The older you get, you start to kind of divide the country into different, areas, east, west, north, south, whatever. And yeah, every different part of the map brings about a different vibe. So my Midwestern vibe, I kind of caught it initially freshman year of college, very outspoken, very well spoken, can maneuver around in all different kinds of rooms. I don't ever really stop at the door to consider who's on the other side. I really just wasn't raised to think like that. So it was difficult for me to come to college here in Nashville, which, let's be honest, Nashville wasn't the new it city back then. There were several people where I'm from. I'm just going to be 100% frank that were against me coming here for college. They were like, we don't understand. All that we know of Nashville is the Judds and Dolly Parton. Where do you fit in, right? And that's about as tactful as I can be. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, no, Oprah Winfrey's alma mater is there. That's where I'm going. They've also got a dental school up this. Like, I had it all mapped out, which you do when you're 18 because you don't think about different situations life may throw your way, right? You just think, I'm going to be an astronaut. I'm literally going to walk down the street and land on the moon, if that makes any sense. And so when I got here, I quickly discovered that the girls were kind of in college for husbands. And so when I was walking around, and I'm not saying everyone, these aren't blanket statements, but these are real life situations. The girls were kind of in college for husbands. I was a little intimidating because I kept my biology book like on my right hip. You know what I mean? And that book literally weighed 12, 15 pounds, but it went with me everywhere because I wanted to be a dentist. I wanted to be a practitioner. I wanted to be the Oprah Winfrey of dentistry. And I thought that was achievable because I was going to her alma mater. I didn't understand. You know, they take 5,000 applicants. They pick 50 people. Like, those are crazy stats.
Yeah, and they are.
It costs $10,000 to apply. You know, if you're doing out of state, you're the one responsible for the money to fly all around and apply. It's a lot. It's a lot it's a year-long application. Most people don't even realize that. The application opens up in June. And you don't really know for sure where you're going until like maybe Christmas, holiday time, whatever your holiday is, you know, and then you actually go to start school that following summer. So that's a full year of an application cycle. As an adult person, this is a graduate degree. So you're not 18, 16, 19, you're 26, you're 24, you're 30. Or even now, I'm 42 years old. If I decide I want to apply to Meharry, I'm 42. Like, that means packing up whatever, doing whatever to get that seat. So, you know, with going back to what you were saying about the difference in cultures, I just didn't know that they would be so different. So I've always come into a room with an open heart, open spirit, always happy to meet new people. I genuinely think that's fun. Like, I don't want to talk to my high school and, you know, elementary school friends every day. I've known those people for 30-something. Like, I'm sick of you. I know your favorite color. Right. Let me meet somebody new, you know. And so that's just my personality, but I don't always get that. And I know that everybody's different, you know, and again, these aren't blanket statements, but I sometimes find it difficult to get a genuine hello. And I'm like, why? I don't understand. And it's not from people that look different. I'm being tactful again. Y'all follow me. It's not from people that look different. A lot of times it's from people that look like me. You know, they wear crazy hats and a bunch of German jewelry and a bunch of gold, whatever. But yeah, I'm like, what is going on? So I don't know. I guess it's just life showing you that everybody's different. And I have friends that live out west, which a lot of people say that I even had, like, when I was in grad school, I can remember I delivered my thesis, and when they asked you the questions after, one of my professors was literally like, so Dennifer, what's next? Or Hollywood? I thought he was being flippant, but there's tons of people that think I should be out west. There's also tons of people that think I would fit in really well in the East Coast, which, you know, I'm very well renowned for being a follower of Wu-Tang Clan, so I wear a lot of Wu-Tang, you know, stuff. So I think people think maybe I'm from Staten Island or whatever. But I had a really good friend a year ago. We were on the Nashville Black 40 Under 40 together and, you know, built not just a business, you know, didn't start just doing business together, but actually became really, really good friends. So that platform is amazing. Shout out to Shantez Crawford. That's something that we definitely need to work hard to keep in the city. But, he moved out east. And, I mean, he still, you know, we still talk most every day. And the things he tells me, I'm like, I should be there. But I don't think it'd be the best fit for me. I don't know. I like the fast life. Big Rolex watches, fur coats, fast cars. I talk fast. I don't even think half the time before I do stuff. I need, like, a lawyer beside me at all times. You know what I mean? To kind of keep me out of stuff. Because I don't even be thinking. Like I said, I come into a room with an open heart. So just within this last year, I had a situation where I was in, you know, close contact with a scammer. Of course, I didn't know they were at the beginning. But because I'm so genuine, they didn't scam me. They scammed everybody around me. And I was like, and I talked to my parents about it, and I was like, is that benevolence from you know who? Or like, how does that happen? I'm not any smarter than anybody else. And my mother says she probably has so much fun with you that you were an asset to her, because she was so busy trying to be in her mental about how to be so deceptive, you know what I'm saying, to all these other people.
Yeah.
When she was with you, she could let her guard down. And I'm 3-time TSU, so you wasn't getting my credit card. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, we can go to Hawkers across the street and have 10 drinks. We can go up to Noir, and you know what I mean? I do some advertising for him. He gonna send out some stuff for Unlock Nashville. I mean, we can kick it, but you'll never get close enough to get anything to do anything with. So I don't know, you guys. I don't know. I feel like a bull in a china shop sometimes, and then sometimes, most of the time, I'm embraced with open arms. So I don't really know, but I just didn't know as a younger person that we're all so different within this country. Even the way we walk, we speak. Your Milwaukee is faster than my Indiana. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yep.
You know, when you say Milwaukee, I immediately think Laverne and Shirley. When I say Indiana, you got to think Bob Knight and the Hoosiers. You know what I'm saying? They were one of the only undefeated basketball teams up until, you know, our Lady Gamecocks start getting smooth. So, you know, I mean, everywhere I guess is different, but I just don't. I sometimes don't fit in, and it's very difficult to be this old and still be, you know, that's so high school to even talk like that, right?
Right.
It seems like it should be, but it's genuine, and it happens. So I don't know. I don't even know if I answered your question, but that's
No.
just, I literally, like, life just be lifing, and you got to do a somersault sometimes to get through it or around it or whatever. But yeah,
Gotta get with it.
yep.
Yo, the Oprah Winfrey Dentistry is hard though. I like that.
I mean, you know, because she did great things, and let's be honest, she was from here and went to college there and was overlooked for a couple things that she, you know, thought that she could achieve. And so you always have to remember, it's not maybe personal when people overlook you or put you down. I mean, I've had people, look, with the last 2 years in real estate have not been easy, but I have a passion for it because, like I said, I see a lot of people that don't maybe even think they can get a bank loan. They just keep renting, and they're making that one person rich off their income. And I still, even to this day, you know, I waited tables and bartended so much through college and grad school. I've got friends that are now managers, right? Everybody has a different career path. Some people that I worked with side by side every day behind the bar, they're now managing the whole franchise. They're now, you know, proprietors. They have percentages of ownership in restaurants. So they're like, I can't get anybody to show up on these days of the week. Dennifer, because they know I'm going to come. They know I love money. They know I've always got a new Rolex I'm trying to get, you know, and so they know I'll show up if I can fit it in my schedule. That's just another part of my Midwestern roots. I'm never too good to do anything. I'm never too good to be seen doing anything. Like, I just don't, you know, sometimes I look like this. Sometimes I don't. So, you know, you might come by the house, I got my retainer on. Like, what? You know, what are we doing? I'm just always ready for whatever, whenever. And I just don't always find that. I think a lot of people fall into labels, and I just can't be that same thing to you every single day. Even if I was a dentist. I don't know, though. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know if maybe the good Lord didn't let me get through dental school because I wouldn't have been a humble person. That's just something I'm gonna always have to live with and figure out. You know what I mean? Why that didn't intersect? I don't know. But as far as who I am now, and Dennifer as an agent, if you approach me anywhere, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna answer your question. I sometimes can't do business with people because I have crazy working hours. I just don't like people on red. I think it's disrespectful and rude and cocky. And when I'm doing business and have a question, I don't want you to keep me on red. So how are we all raised? Do unto others, you know. And that can sometimes be do good to them or treat them like trash. If they treat you like trash, you shouldn't ever go into a room looking for a fight. But when you get in there, my grandma used to say, you better know how, you know. So that's just how I live my life, and that's how come people they roll with me deep. Yeah. Yeah.
So I wanted to with you being in real estate, I wanted to ask you about them squeezing the houses in between the, them the houses already there, and they these little skinny houses, and then they charging like 1.2 million, and I'm just trying to see like what's the purpose of that? I know they trying to build more houses, but
I don't even know where to. I know what I want to say to you, but it's so much in that it's so much for me to say within that question. So first and foremost, I know we all are aware of the restaurant that had issues with the new construction beside it, and they had to close because their fumes were, basically like a fire hazard, because this house is being built so close to the restaurant. The restaurant's been there for decades, but here comes this new construction. So me being me, big mouth, gotta have an opinion, right? I ride by and I'm thinking, okay, so I feel like the business owner could potentially have a lawsuit. And now this is just my opinion. Don't call a lawyer and say I said nothing. I'm just talking. They've been there forever. Whoever sold that house knew what zoning and coding was going to allow to be built there, right? So they sell the house to the buyers that bought the house. The buyers that bought the house, which is probably the investor that's building whatever he's building, he also knew what zoning and codes would allow for. So when then he had the floor plans. You know what I'm saying? He had an engineer draw up floor plans for this house, or architect or whatever, draw up floor plans. You guys knew it was going to be too close. Somebody, this is, and I have a client that is also an investor, right? And so we do a lot of off-collar conversations, because the more business you do with people, you should, or else you shouldn't be doing business with them, right? And so he and I say all the time, I love Wu-Tang Clan. And I love Wu-Tang Clan because it's a whole bunch of them. Like, I remember in the 90s when they came out, there was nobody with that many people in a clique. It was literally like Peter Guns and one you know what I mean? It wasn't 6, 7, 8, 9 guys. Here comes old dirty bastard hobbling around like he's drunk. It was wild. I don't like large groups of people in business. It takes 2 or 3 people to get something done, and that's it. Because if you and me pass a paper, we just literally made eye contact, and I'm gonna hand it to you, and you're gonna take it from me, right?
Right.
If we had a third person, that might go one more time. If we had 6 people, you're going to lose your attention span. Exactly. I'm going to lose my attention span. We don't even know where the paper's at. Somebody got grease or chicken juice on their hands. Now the paper needs to be retained. It's like a bunch of stuff for nothing. We could have easily just done it between the two of us. And if we weren't able to do it, then that's when you start discussing adding somebody. But just to add a bunch of people, no. I can remember in grad school, we hated group work. You could collectively hear us all moan when they'd be like, yeah, y'all got a PowerPoint. We want this person in the group. We'd be like, because it means you're taking on the responsibility for everybody in the group.
Yeah.
And for me, I bartended. So I didn't want to be bothered all weekend. I was making money. Like, we used to make great money before they changed Nashville. Now there's a restaurant on every corner. We used to make great money. Now it's like, oversaturated. But everybody else had kids, so they were free on the weekends. So they made it like I waited till the last minute. No, I didn't. That's how I work. I work great under pressure. Don't bother me on Wednesday. I'm in class doing my homework because I know that I got to work all week. So again, but yeah, I mean, they're building all these houses because they want all these people to move here, which is fine. But Nashville, in terms of land mass, it's like New York. You guys are surrounded by a body of water, so that there's only so much land that can be sold, and most people don't realize when you buy real estate, you buy it from the ground all the way up into the airspace. Nobody ever considers that. So here we go with zoning and codes again. They know how tall of a building they're going to allow to be built. Like, look how much paperwork has been gone back and forth about them building that new residence that's going to be taller than the Batman building. The Batman building has been the tallest building. I've lived here 24 years. How long have you guys lived here?
I've been all my life.
Yeah, and it's always been the tallest building. So when Mr. Tony and them want to build this new building and make it taller, they've got to have the permits from codes and zoning to be able to do that. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Right.
So they just want to make the most money that they can. And then, like, going back to my nation's conversation, those were single family homes that they tore down. Then they started rezoning so that they could get 2 houses on one lot. And I don't dig too much into it. Whenever it comes up in conversation, I literally when I say in conversation, I mean it in real estate contracts. I literally get like PTSD because it's a lot. I had to call last week. I've got an out of state client. He's from Georgia, and he likes to come here and buy all these acres and rezone it so that he knows how many homes and stuff and all this. And you've got to be in good with somebody downtown because they'll tell you no in a heartbeat. You over the phone, ain't no telling. You might have interrupted their lunch break or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Their coffee might be getting cold and they just want you off the phone. So they're going to say no. If you really, really want it, you've got to go back and forth about it. We lost a deal. I lost $90,000 in commission just a couple months ago because we wanted 19 lots in East Nashville off of McFerrin and it was that little area over there by Golden Pony behind the gas station, and we couldn't get it rezoned. We wanted to buy 19 lots, and 3 of the lots had sewage lines under it. You can't build a house, right? So we just needed the councilman to change the zoning so that we could build lot, right? Or else that changed the whole package deal. Couldn't get a hold of anybody. You go to meetings, they're avoiding you. It's just like very, very crazy. So I honestly don't even know if I'm the person you should ask to answer that. But from an outsider perspective, like somebody that wasn't born and raised here, but that's been here long enough to kind of see how things go, they want everyone to have adequate housing and they want to make the most money they can per parcel. But enough is enough when you don't come through and watch the construction, or you don't make the blueprints go through some kind of check and balance, because that situation with that restaurant and that new construction is stupid. I mean, I can't think of a more tactful word on air. It's stupid. Like when you ride by and you see it, it's like, and I rode by a day that there were construction workers there, and I was thinking, are we all this bad off for money that you would even, I mean, they looked nuts. They couldn't even walk between the two buildings. Yeah. It's so tight. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't know. I tell my business partner every day, I think I might be one transaction away from retiring out, because it's always something about nothing. Mm-hmm. It's always something about nothing. And when you genuinely just want people to build the equity so that they can have that as a backup savings account for their family, you get into situations like this. And that is considered new construction. Just like when I take you out to Ryan Homes or, Pulte Home, those tall and skinnies are considered new construction. So there's different things that they have to abide by to be able to build. And there's different permits that they should have to be able to build. So again, who's checking these permits knowing that the construction is too tight? Mm-hmm. I don't know. I don't know. I literally don't know. Yeah. Yep. And no, I'm not running for office. No.
So Dennifer, when it comes down to like,
hey Q, let's do a break real quick.
Cool, let's do it.
All right, but we're gonna be right back on You Can't Sit With Us Radio. Hey, what it do? This your boy, Ambitious. Some of y'all might know I also own a music production group called Threshold Brace Productions. Now, if you're watching or listening to this episode right now, and you hear the music playing in the background, that's a Threshold Brace production. So, any artists, if you're looking for beats, hit us up. Threshold Brace got you. If you got your own podcast, or you need music for a movie, or whatever it might be, hit us up, man. We got you. Threshold Brace production links will be in the description below. Email as well if you want to contact us. But any artist, if you're looking for beats, mixing and mastering, and studio time, hit us up. We got you. You can Google Threshold Brace Productions to check out all our music. You can actually go on the You Can't Sit With Us Radio podcast page as you are right now and check out Threshold Brace music videos and the music that we have made as well. So, but thank y'all again. Thank y'all again so much for supporting this podcast. I hope you're enjoying the episode that's currently playing right now. And until next time, man. Yo, what it do? Welcome back to You Can't Sit With Us Radio, Q.
All right, so Dennifer, one of the questions that I wanted to get in with you, because I think this is something that a lot of people would want to know, especially when looking into like new real estate and making those purchases. So, what are some of the best things that you recommend for people to have, like just in order or together when they're getting ready to make a purchase of like a home or any type of real estate?
You've got to save money. You've got to have down payment. Everyone assumes because they're maybe going to be a first-time home buyer that they will qualify for down payment assistance, and there's a lot of qualifiers behind the scenes, through the lender that you have to have in order to get that kind of assistance from the bank. There's different types of loans. An FHA loan is a loan to help like a first-time, home buyer, and also allows you to put down less money. A conventional loan would be someone that has a higher credit score that maybe does already have a substantial amount of money, to aid in down payment assistance. And so there's VA loans where you don't have to put any money down. There's all different kinds of loans. So I always let the lenders do most of the financial talk, but as an agent who has done several transactions and whatnot, you need to have a 680 credit score. And I do offer complimentary credit repair. If you contact me, I love for my clients to contact me on Unlock Nashville on Instagram. Also follow, because I give lots of real estate tips and advice. And even if it's not me as the talking head per se, I make sure I share information. I'm actually like a little influencer. I get paid a little bit to share things, because most people that do business with me, they know that that's what I'm really, really good at. You also need to know what you want, right? I mean, not even in terms of architecture of the house, but I mean, what are you looking for? Where do you need to be? I just left 2 showings in Murfreesboro, and the first showing, when we pulled up, I got there a little bit before the buyer. So when the buyer came to the car to escort me to the door to open it up, get it unlocked, as I like to say, I asked them, I said, where are you commuting from? Because I was coming from Nashville proper, right? 2 completely different counties. And the exit that I got off on, the house wasn't immediately, easy interstate access. I got off the exit, 78B. I went 5 miles down the street, which that's substantial on a city street. That's not 5 interstate miles, right? I went up the street 5 miles. So far, I saw a Thornton's and was like, you know what? At this point, I'm gonna get iced coffee. Like, why? I'm looking at my map and it's telling me I'm still 10 minutes out, and I just got off the interstate. Like, is that doable for you? Because I know for me, I'm a very suburban urban, but I would rather do a condo that's right off the interstate. All I gotta do is just throw my keys to the valet and hit the elevator. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to be 10 more miles off the interstate. So we had that conversation, and they said they were fine with it. They had family that lived in the surrounding, small town, Smyrna, Laverne kind of thing. And we all know that there's street, ways to get from one city to another or what have you. But yeah, you got to think about those things. If you're a new mother, you might want your master bedroom. I've got to stop saying that. They yell at me all the time, but when I started in real estate, that was the term they used, your master suite. Now they call it the owner suite. Especially in the South. There we go with that again. But yeah, some people like their owner suite on the main level. Like, if I had just had a baby and maybe had a cesarean section, I'm not going to be stair friendly for a while, right? Not to mention anyone, that's got a new infant. You're not trying to be up and down the stairs every time the baby cries. So those are things we need to think of. Do we already have older children? Are we a newly married couple? Do we want our owner suite right next door to our kids' bedrooms? Like, what are we doing here? How long are we living here? Are we going to keep this house in our real estate portfolio and rent it out? Are we going to sell it and pull the equity and try to get into something else later? Like, you got to kind of know, you got to start really, and this is the thing that they don't teach us in like high school and junior high about being an adult. I feel like everybody can't wait to be 18 so they can smoke, drink, cuss, and be. And I'm like, there's more to being an adult than that, guys. Like,
so much more.
You know what I'm saying? So you eventually have to sit down and tell yourself, I think a lot of people think that home ownership is unattainable. But if you change your mind to believe that it is, and you put it on like your, what do they call it, a vision board or whatever, then that means you really have to be serious about what is it that you want. I hear from a lot of people, we maybe get the pre-approval back and they're shocked that the bank has even been willing to do any business, right? The bank is a business. That's a whole nother thing that I can go on a spiral about. A no isn't a rude no. It's a not right now, but I'm going to also give you the things that you could be working on to get a yes. It's not a no, and I say that proudly because I know that people that look like us have had a hard time historically with dealing with banks and institutions and things like that. So it's easy to assume that every no is because of that. But no, if you ask me to borrow $50 and I ask you why, right? I mean, I can ask you why if you ask me. And you tell me, I'm in between jobs, blah, blah, blah. I know at that point that you're probably not going to be able to give me the $50. You know what I'm saying? Right. It would be foolish. Yeah. It would be foolish of me to give it to you and then the next day or a week later call you and ask for it back. You've already given me the backstory as to why you're asking me, right? Exactly. Yeah. So when we ask the bank for a pre-approval for a home, you're not asking them for $50. You're asking them for $250,000, $500,000, $750,000. So do you not think the bank is they're not going to ask you questions, but they're going to want to know, are you able to pay this loan back? And in what time is it going to take you to adequately, and I don't mean like down to the $50,000, I mean pay it all back. Yeah. Give me my money back, right? That's business. I don't know why people are so offended with the no, and it's not a stern, hateful no. If they were rude, who would do business with them at all, right? It's a not right now. I know for the people I work with, I can't do blanket statements because I'm just one girl with one voice with one business, right? But the people that I do business with would never tell you no and not lead you towards the direction you need to go. Now, when I also say I offer complimentary credit repair, that doesn't mean we're paying your bills, folks. I'm so glad my allergies are out because that could have hit a lot harder than it did when I just said that. But yeah, we're not paying your bills. I'm telling you, I've got lenders that have software and they call it a scenario, right? They could tell you what bills to tackle. They can help get you towards that yes. Mm-hmm. So again, it's just business, but you've got to be mature enough and you've got to want it enough to initiate the conversation. And the first step of home ownership is the lending. It is not calling me up to go to the Icon looking at condos. Why? Mm-hmm. We don't know if that you can. I mean, what? That's not going to do anything but hurt anybody's feelings, and that goes for everybody. There's married couples whose parents literally gift them hundreds of thousands of dollars as a down payment. I've still got to know what's their pre-approval. Mm-hmm. Your parents could say, we're going to give you $300,000. They call it a lending gift. And it happens more often than people speak of, right? We're going to give you $300,000 to get you started so that you're not out here renting an apartment as a young married couple. But I don't know if the young married couple can afford $300,000 more dollars. Which would be, you know what I'm saying? So I can't take you into properties just because you were rolling down the street and, oh my God, you like the way that this house looks. That's not how it works. We've got to have the lending taken care of. And you can use, whatever lender that you want. I do have a panel of lenders that I work closely with that I will always recommend. But it's ultimately up to you because you've got to have a rapport and like this person because they're asking you very personal questions. Like, I think, most adult people would rather be in a room naked together than to be honest about their finances because, again, it's not things that we're taught in school. And that's how come there's such a wealth gap and such a, housing gap. I mean, I just want to see the people that look like us do better with the home ownership because it's like a backup bank account. And, if you ever fall into hard times and you need some money, you've got that asset. Whereas as a renter, if you pay $2,000 a month in rent, in a 1 year span of time, you've paid $24,000. That is not a tax write-off. You'll never get that money back. You literally worked 40 hours a week or did whatever it is that you do to make that income and hand it. Like we were talking about the piece of paper earlier. Right. Hand it from me to you. And you're not handing it back. You reworking, doing something else to get that money back. And renting is good for a short span of time. And there is a time in everybody's life when, it can be beneficial. But I just hate to see people get stuck in it. Mm-hmm. Stuck in it for too long. And the $24,000 turn into $100,000, $150,000. You know what I'm saying? Of money that you'll never get back. $150,000 still has some weight. I know that the economy is horrible, and people talk about the value of $1 a lot, and we've all, been through something. You know what I'm saying? I don't sell 5 houses a month like I used, whatever. But, yeah, you can still do something with $150,000. So don't just think, I'll make it back. Oh, well, I had to have somewhere to live. Are you doing the best for yourself that you can? Right. And that's all I ever ask of people. That's all I ever want from people. But I can't want it more than you want it for yourself.
Okay.
Yep. And I'm not paying your credit card bills. But I will put you in free credit repair. Shout out to Westernwood First Bank Mortgage. They've been working with me for years, and we've always, advertised to do that. Anytime I'm on a podcast, I say the first 8 people that DM me, on Instagram and Unlock Nashville, I'll make sure that I can help you bridge the gap. But what? I'm not paying it. Yeah, I thought you were going to get it. I thought you were going to say, I'm not paying it. I got to pay my own Amex. And Lord have mercy, those people think I'm psycho. But, yeah. But, yeah. Thanks for having me, guys. This has been really good. Yeah, I'll always come back and hang with you guys.
Yeah, no, we definitely need to gotta get a part 2. For sure.
Thank you.
I got a lot more questions.
You better write them down. Yeah. Whenever I do my podcast, I write the script, right? So I mean, I don't. It's not a script per se, but I try to keep it. You know what I'm saying? Because when you start talking about something else, it's easy to move away. But yeah, this was cool. This is like the first one in a long time. I had no idea what y'all were gonna ask me, so thank you for freaking me out today.
All right, so I know we're short on time, so we gotta make it a little bit quicker than usual. But then if it is time for random ass questions, these questions have absolutely nothing to do with what we talked about today. Are you ready?
I guess. Oh Lord, that was a crazy segue. Yeah, I'm ready. Sheesh.
All right, so what is your zombie apocalypse plan?
Like if the zombies come?
Yeah.
Well, y'all gonna be mad at me. I gotta grab my Rolex. Well, I mean, anybody that knows me knows I'm grabbing it. Like they're going in my pocket. I have more than one. They're going in my pocket, and then I gotta take my insulin. Anybody that also knows me knows I've been diabetic since I was 6. So if you've ever had dinner with me or been anywhere with me, you know I'm packing, right? I got the needles and the insulin. Like, shout out to 5 Dog, Tribe Called Quest. We gotta hold it down for the diabetics, the funky diabetics. What else am I gonna grab? I got my watches. I got my insulin. My phone. Shoot. I got a post on Unlock Nashville. I told y'all I was bunkered down last weekend in a tornado, and I think I responded to an email. I sent a text, and I might have booked a showing or did. So I was like working back there. This lady beside me was hysterical, and I think this is horrible. I think I kind of stopped a minute and looked at her like, will you chill? Like I'm in the middle of writing this sentence. I don't know. But that's probably what I'll grab. Yeah, and some iced coffee. I can't live without my... Like LL Cool J couldn't live without his radio, I can't live without iced coffee. I've already had 3 today. They're like a meal replacement when I can't get to substance. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Put a little creamer, put a little Splenda in there, the crushed little Sonic Ice, the little chewy kind. Yeah, ooh, boy, you making me want another one, man. Yeah, but I don't know what I would grab if some zombies came. I love thrillers, so what'd they do? They were just walking down the street minding their business, leaving the movies.
Yeah.
He started dancing and she stood there, which I still don't understand why she didn't run. So I don't know what I would do in a zombie apocalypse, you guys. What's the next question?
All right, what warning label would you give your life?
Ooh, disaster. What's the one when like it's telling you don't eat it? Like it's got the cross. You know what I'm saying? The skull on the cross. That's me. That's definitely me. Like just proceed with caution. I don't know. Be very cautionary. It's a crazy life, but I handle it. And those that can do and those that can't, peace. I don't know what to tell you. Yep. I like that one, the skull and crossbone one.
All right, last question is, you think angels get high?
Yeah, they fly.
Okay. All right. You rock with it?
I don't know. That's such a random, because this year Easter's on 420.
Yeah, it is.
And I'm like, who plans this stuff? Like, that's ridiculous. And 420, I can remember like in the 90s being in junior high. And it originated from like the cancer free, like the no smoking thing, and then everybody turned it into the we smoke weed on this day. Now they want Easter on that day. I don't know. Yeah, they probably do get high. We be stressed. I know mine do because I stress her out probably half the time. Yep. The way I just drove down that interstate from Murfreesboro to here, I guarantee she was sitting on the roof of my car like, this girl is, ooh wait. Yeah. Yeah. That's so dope. Was that the last question?
Yeah, it's the last one.
All right, guys. First 8 people that DM me on Unlike Nashville on Instagram, complimentary credit repair. We can just kind of chat about where you think your credit score is and see about ways to either improve it or get you ran to purchase your first home. You are buying a home this year. You are no longer renting from the landlord that doesn't allow you a dog, that doesn't allow you to paint, that, you know, your people next door to you are like loud and walk like they're in, you know, high heels all day. We're out of there. We're buying something. We're building it, or we're going to find something that's newer construction with clean air for all of our allergy people like myself that have severe allergies. And we are no longer renting. We're going to get some tax benefits, and I'll be back on another episode to chat just how we're going to get it down, break it down.
Sure.
Let's do it.
All right. Well, as always, y'all can find me on IG, Q the DJ, QUETHEDEEJAY, Ambitious.
Yeah, follow me at Ambitious1K on Instagram and Twitter. That's the number 1, the letter K. You don't know how to spell ambitious, go look in the dictionary, go ask Alexa, go ask ChatGTP, however you say it. Man, ask him, her, whatever. Go figure it out. Threshold Brace, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. You Can't Sit With Us Radio, all one word on Instagram and Facebook. And what's the Twitter? X.
Y.C.S.W.U Radio, all one word on Twitter or X. Type in with us there as well.
Yeah, man. Till next time, Ambitious Q. And this is our last episode in this studio, so I hope y'all enjoyed all the years we've been here.
Aww.
Yeah, we got a new location coming soon. We still might come here every now and then, but for now we leaving this location. So yeah, man, it's our last episode here. Hope y'all enjoyed it. Yeah, yeah.
I'm honored. I'm honored to be the last guest. Thanks, guys. Dennifer Relaford, Unlike Nashville. Shout out Keller Williams. You've had my back like chiropractic for almost 8 years. Much obliged.
Yeah, man. So until next time, man. Ambitious Q, we are out.
We outie.